This is our 45,000 mile Ford F-150 XLT. We bought this because A, it was the first fully redesigned F-150 since 2015, and B, it was the first full-size pickup to offer a hybrid powertrain. In the years since we wrote the $66,000 check for this thing, thank you COVID markups, we've done everything with it. We've used it for towing, hauling, camping. We even drag raced it on dirt against a Raptor. In that time, there's been good, there's been bad, and there's been one major headache. So would we buy it again? Is the hybrid powertrain the best one you can get in an F-150, and what went wrong? Let's talk about it. One thing almost everyone picked up on is how comfortable these seats are, and that really matters in a pickup truck like this. Whether you're taking calls from your mobile office, or you're on the long haul, or you're just sitting in the school pickup line, you're really going to appreciate how comfy these seats are, even after a few hours.
The lumbar support in the F-150 is great. You can feel it across your whole back. I like the cloth seats too. They're really soft and they don't heat up the way leather does. I didn't even miss the ventilated seats because the AC is strong enough.
My coworkers also pointed out the F-150's driving characteristics. It's like one of those big American executive sedans from the 90s, but with actual body control.
I really like the way our F-150 drives. It's got a comfortable ride, stable handling, and smooth brakes. It's pretty easy to see out of too.
I took a few long road trips with my wife and my 18-month-old, and the ride quality and body control in this thing were outstanding. It handled hills, winding roads, broken pavements very, very well. And we didn't feel isolated at all. I actually felt very connected despite the size of the truck.
One of our producers, my buddy John, said after a long road trip that the F-150 made it, quote, mindlessly easy to log miles. And just listen to that. If I didn't have to drive some big old pickup right now, I could take a nap in here easy. It is so quiet. The ride comfort and hush cabin are especially noteworthy because our truck has the FX4 package with stiffer dampers and all-terrain tires. And we haven't even mentioned the hybrid's twin-turbo V6 with its 570 pound-feet of torque. That's the most you can get in any F-150 short of a Raptor R or one of the big diesels.
The torque in this thing is really impressive. You get a lot of acceleration for something so big. My commute has a ton of hills, and going up them, the engine stays really low in the rev range because there's so much electric torque. You can actually change speed a little bit without getting a bunch of shifts out of the engine. I kept expecting to hear it bog down, but it didn't. It just keeps going.
Remember that drag race with the Raptor I told you about earlier? Let's cue it up.
Oh, slight delay. Come on. Come on, hybrid. Come on, hybrid. Come on! No! Yeah, buddy!
Our F-150 wasn't exactly a garage queen, but we didn't beat the hell out of it either. There are plenty of pickups from the exact same year with way more miles on them. Just go check out the used car ads on Edmunds.com. That said, we still put it to work.
So with the F-150 hybrid, we towed an entire apartment's worth of furniture from San Francisco all the way down to Los Angeles, and the truck was an absolute hero. It has huge mirrors so you can check both sides of you while you're driving and get super comfortable. And in the towing mode, it keeps the power band perfect. It only shifts for efficiency when it absolutely needs to. And towing a big giant box trailer, we still averaged almost 13 mpg. This truck is awesome when it comes to towing.
He wasn't the only one who appreciated this thing's towing performance. Albert, who you heard from earlier, towed his Miata to the track, and he said he didn't even feel the trailer behind him. Plus, we've put these tie-down points to pretty good use. I've used this thing to move from apartment to apartment, and John's done some pretty cool work too.
I recently did some wetline conservation work and needed to haul a kayak, two 12-foot 2x4s, 3 sheets of plywood, tools, and 2 pull sleds. Heavy? Not really, but it was an awkward load that needed to be tied down securely. Tie-down points are easy to access, and the bed liner made sliding in bulky items worry-free. It was hot, mud, funk, mosquito-filled work, but the 100-mile ride home was a relief. There's nothing worse than working all day and then getting into something that forces you to labor either mentally or physically just to get home. This truck just makes everything easy. I love it.
The F-150, like all trucks, is really great for camping. And on our F-150 in particular, there are tons and tons of tie-down spots that make securing your load very easy. I was able to secure a cooler, some food storage bags, sleeping bags, all that kind of stuff with only 2 or 3 straps, and that made the whole trip a lot easier.
As you might imagine with a pickup truck this big, there is plenty of room inside the F-150 to keep your belongings out of the sun or wind or rain or anything else. And check this out. There is a ton of room back here. I'm pretty sure I could sleep door to door and it wouldn't even be that uncomfortable.
There's tons and tons of space, obviously, in the bed of the F-150, but if you've got gear that you don't want to expose to the elements or you want to keep a little more private, the back seat is perfect. The back rear bench folds up, and this creates a ton of space. Now, we lose a little bit of space on our hybrid because we've got the battery back there, but even with that, there was never a load that I felt like I really had to plan or Tetris in order to get everything to fit.
Of course, this is a modern pickup with modern tech, and for the most part, we liked what the F-150 has to offer. Brent mentioned how well organized the infotainment system is, and everybody appreciated this persistent row of shortcut buttons down here and the fact that they stay present regardless of what screen you're on for easy access. Albert also mentioned that he liked this bed view camera. Even though you're always pretty sure you tied everything down securely, it's nice to take a peek back at your goodies and make sure they're not going anywhere as you're driving along. But of course, it wasn't all good, and surprisingly for this F-150 hybrid, that means we have to talk about fuel economy. The orange wires and the electric motor sandwiched between the engine and the transmission means that this is a hybrid, and the EPA says it's rated at 24 mpg combined. We never really saw that. Now, we have had a couple long-term F-150s in the past. In 2018, we picked up a Lariat model with the now standard 2.7-liter V6 engine, and we regularly managed 23 to 24 mpg on long trips out to Palm Springs and back to LA. This year, we tried to do the exact same thing in this car, consciously driving with a light foot to see how little fuel we could really use. The result was 19 to 20 mpg. Over the course of our 3 years with our F-150, we've managed 19.9 mpg, which isn't bad for a full-size pickup on all-terrain tires, but probably not what you're hoping for if you were to buy a hybrid. It wasn't all bad though. The 30+ gallon fuel tank means that we regularly made it 500 miles or more on a single tank of gas. We even made it from LA to the Grand Canyon without having to fill up. It's just that our real-world MPG did not meet what's on the window sticker. Get this engine for the power instead of the fuel economy and you're unlikely to be disappointed. Not that it's a totally seamless experience.
Under certain circumstances, you could hear the electric motor making these clicking, whirring type noises. And it stood out, not because it was super intrusive or anything like that, but that you could hear anything at all. Most hybrids these days are totally quiet in their operation. They're perfectly seamless. This one liked to make its presence known.
Likewise, although my boss Brent called out the smooth brakes, not every staffer agreed with him.
The brakes can feel a little clunky. It's not all the time, it's just in some circumstances. The transition from regenerative to physical isn't as smooth as I want. And if the engine does the auto shut off before you're completely at a stop, it can kind of add to that clunky feeling. The brake pedal is really numb too, so it's not like you can tell what's going on through your foot. It's not that the brakes are weak, it's just they're not always as smooth as some other hybrid vehicles.
As much as we like the tech here, it still left a little bit of room for improvement.
The touchscreen graphics look a little dated. Plus, the resolution of the surround view camera is not the best. It's fuzzy, and it really makes it hard to clearly see what's around you when you're parking.
But that screen, that's where we ran into our biggest issue. About 8 months into our time with Big Red here, the main screen started to glitch out pretty bad. We're talking about either not working at all, glitching out, rebooting every 5 minutes kind of bad. So we went to the dealership to have it checked out. Basically what we were told was that we needed to update our APIM module. APIM stands for Accessory Protocol Interface Module. Anyway, the point is, we got it updated, but the service advisor says, I've seen this before and I bet you're gonna be back here sooner than later. And as it turns out, they were right. We turn it on and we put it in reverse and we discovered that there's no reversing camera. The second time we turn it on after that, the screen is dead. It will not turn on. And we can appreciate an old school pickup with no CarPlay, no radio, no nothing, but not when you spend close to 70 grand. So we went back to the dealership to have the blank screen addressed. It turns out our APIM module failed in a very specific way and we needed a new one. The dealership told us it would take a month to get the new module, but to our surprise, it arrived in just a week. So we went back, had it swapped out for free under warranty, and we drove off and we haven't had an issue since. There have been phantoms of problems, but by and large, this thing has been rock solid. So aside from a couple of 10,000 mile oil changes, which is the manufacturer recommended interval, and $1,500 for a new set of tires, we also had to take the truck in for a couple of recall related issues, all of which were performed under warranty. One was an inspection to confirm underbody wire insulators weren't sagging onto the drive shaft. And another reprogrammed the trailer relay module to make sure the trailer brake functioned properly. In addition to the money we spent on maintenance, we also lost some cash due to depreciation. We spent around $66,000 on this thing back in 2021, and that includes $4,495 for the hybrid powertrain option and a $4,000 dealer markup. Today, with 45,000 miles on the clock and plenty of adventures in the rear view, our truck is worth about $32,600, or a little less than half of what we put down in 2021. So 3 years and almost 50,000 miles later, what do we think? Well, for one, we would definitely go hybrid over Lightning. The driving experience and the price point are way more appealing in the Power Boost. And as you can see by this clip, it's still plenty quick. Also, given the choice, we think the XLT is the right move.
I actually think Ford did a really nice job on the interior trim in our XLT. I mean, this is a lower trim level, but there's so many different textures and patterns and designs throughout the cabin that it doesn't look like cheap or homogeneous. And it all feels pretty nice too. Points to Ford.
Back when we bought our truck in 2021, you could get a Power Boost XLT for as little as $56,000. The problem is, you can't get an XLT hybrid anymore. For 2025, the Power Boost hybrid is available on the Lariat, King Ranch, and Platinum, and that means the cheapest hybrid is nearly $70,000. So would we do it again? Of course we would. Aside from that one small but significant tech hiccup, this thing has been a reliable partner for camping, towing, hauling, and everything in between. And even though you can't get the XLT with the Power Boost anymore, it still makes plenty of sense. The hybrid wasn't as efficient as we would have liked, and it's really expensive to get now. That said, the Power Boost hybrid is still the best engine you can get in an F-150 this side of a Raptor R. And if you're going for a higher spec F-150 in 2025, like the Lariat, King Ranch, or Platinum models we mentioned earlier, you'd be crazy to not go hybrid. And I want to say one more thing. Pickup trucks live long, hard lives, and they rarely ask for anything in return. Our XLT, Big Red here, has been such a faithful partner. It's done everything we asked of it and only wanted a little bit of care in return. I love this thing, and I know I'm gonna miss it.